Still haven't faded that out. I'm gonna have to do that at some point.
I
What's up,
don't hear
everybody?
I don't hear anything. So
Yeah, well, it's through my desktop audio. The secrets of stream, ladies and gentlemen. So it doesn't. That makes it even more confusing as to why I've caught you nodding your head a few times at the. I was like, oh, good, he likes the intro
I'm
music, but
not in my head to imaginary
I guess not. Yeah.
music.
So what's up, man? Yeah, we've had a few, but I think we actually finally figured out all of our, other than my mic that keeps falling down. I think we figured out most of our technical issues this time around. So who knows? Maybe next time we'll start. We'll start
Oh, wait,
straight.
the whole thing just crashed. Are you still there?
I,
Still there?
I was,
Are you still there?
yeah. That's funny. Oh, it's been fun.
What's up, man? We are the Punch Drunk Critics. I am Travis Hopson. As John Nolan. You can tell by the little names right there at the bottom of the screen. I think you guys can see those.
Oh yeah.
We are film critics here in Washington D.C., where it has been.
We'll start
like the rest of the
we'll
country.
start straight.
The whole last few days, to say the least, the last week has been extremely tough. Extremely. I don't know. There's a lot of shit going on in the world right now, folks. That's all I'm going to say. And here in DC, it was particularly crazy last night. So it's a little wild out here. Good.
Were you out last night? Did you go out last night?
I mean, I was out, but I wasn't there.
Well, I mean, I know you aren't there, but I mean, I should have been inside when my door's closed.
There, I'd love to throw a brick at the White House or something, but I was not out there.
Right.
For that sort of madness. Just a lot of stuff going on. It's been kind of tough, if I'm honest. Just focused on movies and TV and stuff like that. So, but we did it. So we managed to do it anyway. So yeah, it's been an interesting week, my friend. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I mean, it hasn't been. We're introverts in my house, so we tend to be. What's that?
Same here.
Yeah, we're total introverts. So whether it's
most of us
rioting in the streets or pandemics or whatever it is, we tend to be pretty. I don't want to say immune to it because that sounds like that feels like it's minimizing what's going on. But
nobody should be immune to all that.
Yeah, not immune to it. We tend to be. Have to make ourselves realize what's going on, if that makes sense.
Well, we talked about it a little bit last week, where it's like, maybe it was last week, maybe it was the week before, but it's like, all this shelter in place stuff. I'm happy to stay indoors. Like I don't mind staying indoors, even though I've gotten a little stir crazy every now and then. I don't mind staying indoors. I don't like being around that many people as it is. But and I'm pretty sure we talked about it last week, where I was like, most people, a lot of our colleagues have been doing Zoom interviews and stuff, and I had just kind of not partaken of that because, I wanted to take this time that we're sheltering to like relax a little bit and not pile on more work. Well, I broke that this week and I did 2 Zoom interviews, one with Odessa Young and the other from Shirley and Assassination Nation, 2 movies I like a lot. And director Josephine Decker. So I did two of those interviews, and I found myself really loving it because it was so goddamn easy. And I'm like, maybe I'll do more of those.
Did it feel like anything was lost though? I mean, not being in person.
No, exactly. It was actually more interesting because not only was I in my home, but they were in their home.
Yeah,
it was actually more relaxed, I think.
I can imagine. I mean, they're not.
You don't have the stresses of the tour.
Right.
And a lot of the times that we do these interviews with people, they've been on tour for days or weeks going nonstop.
Yeah.
And you can feel it. I mean, the interviews tend to go well, of course, but they're also really well practiced. And I think there's just something more relaxing to it when, you're interviewing Odessa Young and you can tell that she's like kind of in her closet or something.
Right.
Yeah, like stuff like that is interesting. And Josephine Decker, she's sitting there in her room, she's got all her stuff behind her, and she's just really, really chill. And and then I'm sitting here like basically with the view you see behind me right now, with a bunch of action figures behind me and stuff. And it's like, it's hard to not be relaxed and have a fun interview,
right?
That kind of scenario. So I kind of dig it, and I think from now on I'm going to try to do more as long as we have the ability to do them. I'm hoping they do all our meetings from Zoom, and then they sent me the recording of the interviews, so I didn't have to do anything.
No, that makes it easier.
Yeah. Which, speaking of which, I think it's because I'm on Chromebook that I don't have like the background, and I don't have the ability to record.
Oh, you can't record either.
I can't record. I don't have a record option on here.
Oh.
I think it's because I've been using my Chromebook for it. I think if I switched over to the other laptop and Zoom, I could probably do those things.
I mean, that reveals a bit. Because part of the reason I've always liked doing interviews is because I'm still a down and out fanboy, and I get an intense joy out of seeing people that I've seen on TV in person. But that is, I'll never forget. It was for Battle of Los Angeles, and I can't remember the guy's.
Corey Hardrick, yeah.
Corey Hardrick. I called him at his house, and he was dating one of the Lowry sisters at the time, or maybe he's married to her, Tia or Tamara. And they gave me the number to call, and it was to her house. And like one of his buddies answered, was like, "Yeah, what can I do for you?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm calling for Corey." He's like, "Who's this? What do you want?" I was like, I'm supposed to have an interview. And I hear Corey back. No, it's cool. Send him through. So, I think that's one of the unsung superpowers of celebrities that people don't. I mean, yes, it's easy in today's world with everything going on to say that they're pampered and overpaid and all these things, but that's something you can't put a dollar amount on. You could not get me to go on a 20-city tour in 10 days and spend 14 hours a day talking to people less good looking than you and me. Ask the same questions over and 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 over again. Because that's what it is. I mean, it's same questions. What are you doing next? What was your motivation? Where did you get this? And they're half the time they're not even like well thought out.
Yeah. No, I hear you. But you would do it if they paid you to do it. So
100%. Well, I wouldn't be as happy about it. Let me rephrase. I wouldn't be as amenable as most of them are. I mean, the fact that they're not all pissed off and staring at you with dead eyes every single time is amazing.
Yeah. So, excuse me, yawning already. Already feels like.
Are we boring you, Travis?
I don't know what you were just talking about.
I got some news that'll wake you up.
So movies that came out this week, I saw one that I really loved called The Vast of Night.
Mm-hmm.
It came on Amazon, and I had been sitting on this screener for like a month, and I never watched it. And as usual, I wait till the last minute to watch it and do my review, and I absolutely loved it. It's a sci-fi movie, so we can talk about that. I don't know if you had a chance to see that or not.
No, I didn't, but I'm just reading about it. And I checked out the trailer earlier today. 1950s sci-fi. Does it feel like a 50s sci-fi movie? I mean, it takes place in the 50s.
But authentic retro sci-fi movie I've seen in a while, and it kind of it's directed by a guy named I think it's Andrew Patterson.
Yep, that's right.
And new guy, and the stars in it. And there's nobody that I really recognize. I recognize the girl just because I think she was in like Are You Smart in the Fifth Grader, and she's kind of moved on to acting since then.
It's a weird start.
Sierra McCormick, I think her name is, and she's really good too. But it's sort of like it's very sort of X-Files ish.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of hooks you with this alien invasion sort of angle.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you don't see any aliens or anything like that. It's all about these two teens who, and this is 1950s, so you got like Cold War paranoia. You've got like this. The new technology that they're running around with is a tape recorder, basically. That was like the new thing for them, and it's like you're dealing with all these new ways of communication. The girl is a switchboard operator, so when they start seeing getting these weird frequencies in the town, the switchboard blows up with people like, what's going on? And I saw something weird in the sky, and and it causes this evening of panic.
So this all takes place over one night.
It all takes place over one night, and these two teens basically trying to figure out what's going on. What is this signal's origin? And it unlocks this deeper conspiracy. And that's basically the entire movie, but it has this tremendously suspenseful atmosphere. Patterson uses darkness perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Sound as well. The sound editing is fabulous. This movie's just a lot of fun, man. I watched it again in a heartbeat, actually. And it's only like 90 minutes long. It's like perfect size. But for like the X-Files fan, like this is the kind of thing you're gonna want to see. X-Files, a little bit Twilight Zone. It takes you like sometimes it changes style. Like it presents itself like it's being shown in like an old school black and white TV set.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're watching an episode of the X-Files or something. It's a lot of fun, man. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, you sold me at the best retro. I don't know what it is about that period of time, and because those movies were bad. I mean, it's the original Sharknado. For anybody that doesn't know about that time period in sci-fi, Sharknado and Lavalantula and all those movies that were on the Sci-Fi Channel were homages to that period in the 50s, where after World War II and the A-bomb, everybody, the next thing in horror was mutated animals, basically, from Night of the Lupus to, ants, basically. But there was, I think it all started for me in Disney Hollywood Studios. Come on, Hopson, wake up. As soon as I start talking, I look up, he's like...
There's nothing new with you. It's me.
No, I know, I'm messing with you. Disney Hollywood Studios, that sci-fi. It's a restaurant, but it's done up with the 50s sci-fi feel. And I think since I first went to that, I've had this like fascination with that time period. So I'm sold.
That's good, man. I'm glad to hear that. You should check it out.
Okay.
I'd want to get your opinion on it. So I mean, you should watch it, and I'd love to hear what you.
Yeah, we just finished a kind of a retro film festival of DC, which we'll talk about a bit. No, DC Universe Film Festival, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But I'm looking for something for this afternoon, so that would fit perfectly. And can I just say for a second, I like how you're not bearing the lead on your character as a person with your shirt that's just blaring out villain right in front of everybody.
Oh, that's my villain club shirt.
I know, it's just the way you're sitting. It's funny because it's like a label, like villain. He's not a bad guy, folks. I'm serious. Listen in.
Well, depends on who you're talking to. Yeah, we're talking about stuff that we just finished. I'm trying to decide what's next for me. I think Umbrella Academy is the next thing I'm going to watch.
Oh, you've gone a week without that?
I just finished The Great with Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult. So I just finished that.
Oh, okay. And, last we talked, you were still watching that, so I guess that's...
Yeah, I just finished it last night. I've been kind of chugging through Snowpiercer because I got all 10 episodes. Mm-hmm. And Khalil and I are Khalil's another writer on punchdrunkcritics.com. We're supposed to be like tag teaming on the recaps. Mm-hmm. I'm letting him do 2 weeks in a row because I've had some issues this week. Which I didn't mention. This is another thing that made the week weird because I had surgery in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
But he's doing this week too. And I've been chugging through it, and I realized that I don't like it. So I'm kind of like, what? Do I want to keep watching it? Like, right. Do I want to keep watching it now, or should I just let Khalil take over all of them?
Well, Khalil liked it, didn't he? If I remember.
Huh? I think Khalil likes it more than I do.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, should I just let him do them all? Because I'm like, it's kind of dull.
Yeah, and it's not that we want to hide bad reviews or anything. It's just there's sometimes, and I'm guessing from the fact that you don't want to write about it that it's not bad. It's just, it is more so. There's nothing worse than writing a review for something you don't care about.
The murder mystery aspect of it is not working for me. Mm-hmm. It's what they're doing. It's clearly going to be like the season long plot thread.
Oh yeah, so you don't want to follow that.
To me, that aspect of it's not working, and unfortunately, that is a big part of it. Like that's like what all the episodes I've watched up to this point have been about, and I'm just like, it's not doing much for me.
Right.
So I don't know. There's a chance that it could pick up. I think I'll at least do the next recap after this one, and I'll decide from there whether to just hand it over to Khalil to do the rest. But.
Well, keep your eyes on punchdrunkcritics.com, and if you see the byline, Khalil pop up more than Travis for the Snowpiercer reviews, you'll know what he thought about it.
His will definitely be on there tonight for tonight's recap, of episode 3. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've been. I think we talked last week that I've been deep into Red Dead Redemption, and it really kind of as a side thing, I've been re-venturing into HBO's back catalog. which of course playing that game then led me into Deadwood, which I never watched before. I didn't realize how good it was.
Oh,
But Deadwood, I was watching it, and Rome I've started watching. HBO is just so freaking good.
Great shows.
Yeah,
Those are two great shows. They ended too early.
Yeah. I mean, I think Deadwood got 3 seasons in a movie, and Rome only got 2 seasons, I believe.
I've still never watched the Deadwood movie. I've not watched it yet, and I keep meaning to. And that's something that's on my list of things to do before it eventually leaves the memory hole.
Yeah.
I need to watch the Deadwood movie at some point. I keep letting it go.
I'm just the only thing now. I'm 8 episodes into the first season, and I know this is for a podcast 15 years ago, but one thing
of Deadwood.
Of Deadwood.
Okay.
Rome, I'm on episode 3. I'm weird like that. I'll watch 2 or 3 series at the same time, but I'm still kind of salty. Spoiler alert for a 15-year-old TV show that Bill Hickok only makes it 3 episodes into the series. Like, he was a compelling character, man, and I wanted to see more of that. But anyway,
yeah, I agree. His was one of those stunning deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you know what happens to Wild Bill Hickok in real life,
it was an Eddard Stark moment, kind of like not on that level, but.
And in fact, you knew that it happened there, so which is why I'm like, I don't know why I was surprised by it, but
yeah. Well, it's like what we were talking about last. We were talking about this. We're doing a lot of about to say reach arounds. That's not the right term. A lot of callbacks, I should say. To last week, we were talking about movies that you watch and you know how they're going to end, and you just want it to change. Mark, a good filmmaking.
We were talking about that with Troy, which is the movie that I watched last week, and I didn't get a chance to. And I didn't get a chance to watch it because it's not on anywhere that you can just watch for free. Like, you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And even though I own the Blu-ray, it's not in the living room where I want to watch it. Now, like, we don't have a Blu-ray in the living room where I want to watch it.
Isn't that's the word? Like, I was talking to Angela about this the other day, my wife, for those who don't know, and I said, we were talking about, what series? It was that we were watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was like, I really got to get the rest of the Tarantino movies on Blu-ray because I only have a couple of them. She's like, why? We have everything on digital. It's just, it's like, it's the weirdest dichotomy of I want to have it on physical so it sits on my shelf, but I also don't want to watch it on physical. I want to watch it on digital, but I want to have it physically on my shelf. You know what I mean? You don't feel like getting up to put the Blu-ray in, but you feel like you need to spend the $30 to own it.
That's interesting. I would like to, I'm at the point where I'm about ready to get rid of all my old DVDs and Blu-rays, or not all of them, like most of them, and keep like the really special ones.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones I'll keep. Because when it comes to those, I would much rather pop in the disc than watch it on digital. I mean, that's just
it looks better too. I don't care what anybody says. You can get a 4K TV with a 4K streaming plan, and it doesn't look as good as a disc right out of the thing. But I think, and this is like we're redoing a whole segment from last week, but I remember when I started talking about Just Watch, and Droid is free on Prime Video, but it's not the director's cut, so you might as well not watch it. So really,
free on Prime?
Yeah, it's Prime Video.
Yeah. I didn't see it for free on there, but I'll look again.
It says it is. Maybe it's wrong. Just Watch is usually pretty good with that. But
whatever. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still playing Red Dead Redemption. I'm in the middle of. Yesterday, Saturday, I didn't do anything but play Fire Emblem Three Houses. I did nothing else. I woke up and I played that, and then I left at the end of in the evening.
Well, that's what I've been wanting to do, but I've got things that won't let me.
I woke up early as shit too, and I played all day into the night. I did not do anything. I stopped for a little while to watch the SpaceX launch, but then I didn't do anything.
I mean, that sounds amazing.
It was one of those days where it was like, because Friday was so like draining, and because of everything else that was going on in the world, and that I invested too much time and emotion into. And then I woke up on Saturday. I was like, I don't even want to turn the TV on. I'm just going to play this game all day, and that's all I did.
You got to check out.
I mean, so that was pretty good.
True what it is. I mean, you got to check out. That's the beauty of these things. I told that. Yeah. Now I kind of embellished a little bit, but my wife was getting on me about playing Red Dead Redemption so much, and it's just a game so layered and so amazing. But I was like, you know what? I was like, when I put this on, I sit down, I stay up till 11:30 at night. All that crap that's bothering me, it fades away for a few hours.
You should be streaming your Red Dead Redemption games, by the
I'm
way.
not good enough yet. I mean, that would just I would get
Who
kicked off the
cares?
damn
Nobody
thing.
cares. I just downloaded the Power Rangers fighting game, and I'm going to stream some of that. And I know I'm going to suck at it. But who cares?
Let me know how that is, because I saw that and I don't think I've
I already
ever
know
been.
that. I already know that it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Like, I had played enough of it before I downloaded it to know that it was really good. Yeah, it's really good.
Okay, because I saw the
got
title.
Really deep bench of players too. Like, people are playing that game hard.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
I saw that cover and I was like, "There's no way," because it just screams game that's a money grab that's not actually good.
Sold for $20. I mean, the game was $20 at launch.
Yeah,
and it was super smart. And the game is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun. It's got simple combat. It's not overly deep, but it's just deep enough. So yeah, it's actually pretty good. We're sitting here turning. This is turning into the
I know
games show.
Well, that being said, let's jump into what I think is the biggest news of the week, and what prompted my DC film festival at the house was the return of my favorite Superman. And was it
Brandon Routh is back?
Yes, Brandon Routh is back. Actually, my favorite Superman technically is Ben Affleck as George. What was his name from the 50s? This joke's dead. Let me just.
Oh, George Reeves from Hollywood.
Yeah, that's my favorite Superman. Was it ever
a very good movie that I'd almost completely forgotten about?
Was there ever a press release or an official word that Cavill was? I mean, we know there was all those weird. There's cryptic Instagram posts and all kinds of shit about Cavill. I have to say that right because I keep saying Cavill, and not to keep bringing up my wife, but she keeps yelling at me because I say Cavill instead of Cavill. So Henry Cavill left the role, but I never actually saw anything concrete.
It was never official that he left the role. I mean, it's just a lot of speculation about what was going on with him, because the one superhero they didn't seem to be doing anything with was Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And, because there's been no Man of Steel 2. Sorry, I got something in my eye. There's been no Man of Steel 2, no announcement of one. There still isn't one.
Right.
And nothing. He's the only one they hadn't really done anything with or made any plans for since Justice League. So it was like, well, is he even still involved? But there was nothing that ever said he was officially gone. It's just he seemed to be on the back burner.
Right.
The problem was you started hearing rumors about like Michael B. Jordan taking over as Superman, and that made people assume that, Cavill was out.
Right.
But he was never gone. So he's officially back now. And I think I had predicted that they were going to make some sort of announcement with him when he showed up for that Justice League, for that Man of Steel watch party with Zack Snyder, the one where he announced the Snyder cut.
Mm-hmm.
And I had said they're going to make some sort of announcement with Cavill, because why is he there?
Right.
I know he's in the movie, but why is he there?
Yeah,
he doesn't have to be there. So, and then sure enough, it was like the next day or the day after that they said he's coming back. Not necessarily for a Man of Steel sequel, but to make appearances in future movies. We don't know what movies those are going to be, though. But I think the logical guess is that he'll show up in Shazam 2.
Yeah, that was teased at the end. For those who don't remember, he didn't actually show face in it, but at the very end, there was a running joke throughout the movie about the kid having Superman come to visit him at lunch, and then in the post-credit scene, we see that. But as I watched this movie again, and we both kind of voiced our opinions on the backlash that it incurred when it came out, and it just seems like this Snyder Cut has really lit the momentum for a rebirth of this DC universe, and it's really weird because we've got two things happening now that are pretty much unprecedented, at least on this far of a media scale in Hollywood, which is, generally speaking, once an actor's out, they're out in a major role like this, and they don't look back no matter how big of a mistake it might have been. And when a movie's premiered, there's no change.
It never made sense to me, the idea that Cavill should be gone as Superman. He was never the problem.
No.
He was never the problem with the DCEU. Man of Steel didn't fail as a movie.
Mm-mm.
and Superman never got a proper sequel. They jumped right into Batman versus Superman.
Right.
So he was never the issue. I never understood why people assumed that he was going to get pushed out. He never expressed any desire to be out. So it never made any sense to me. It's like, oh, we'll keep Jason Momoa's Aquaman,
right?
But we won't keep, we'll keep Ezra Miller's Flash and start setting up a movie for him.
Mm-hmm.
But we won't keep Henry Cavill's Superman. It's like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, as I rewatch these movies, I'm stronger in my commitment that he is one of, if not the best Superman on screen, in my opinion, because
he already looks like Superman. So
he looks like it, and he's got this very unique ability that's not around a lot. That you can look super big and intimidating, but also caring or gentle is, I guess, the word. When perfect. There's a perfect example of it in Justice League when he's picking up Batman right when they bring in the secret weapon of Lois to calm him down after he's been reborn. He's looking at Batman. He's just like he's going to rip his face off, and he sees Lois, and he just melts into this whole other person. And like that's the dichotomy of Superman: somebody that can protect the world and be intimidating, but he's intimidating because he's trying to protect the world. He cares about people.
So in relation to what you had mentioned earlier about the Shazam cameo, I had just posted David F. Sandberg, the director of Shazam,
mm-hmm.
who altered the ending of Shazam to include Henry Cavill's face.
Mustache or no mustache?
But it's no mustache. but he does something else to it. So you'll need to check it out. It's on the site right now, actually. It's pretty funny. It's at the top of the page. So if you go to
that site is punchdrunkcritics.com. Sorry, you were about to say that. Stepped on you.
Punchdrunkcritics.com. It's pretty decent. Yeah, it's right there at the top. So you can go check that out. It's kind of funny. But yeah, it makes sense for them to kind of like I see these appearances, which apparently they have not written any of his appearances into any scripts yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's too early for that. I'm pretty sure there's not a Shazam 2 script out there yet. And who knows what else he'll show up in. But I see these as testing the waters, kind of gauging the fan reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And if people are enthusiastic for it, which I think they will be, because it seems like people are already enthusiastic just hearing that he's making appearances.
Right.
I think they're going to judge these on how far out they're going to keep a Man of Steel sequel.
Yeah.
And I still think at the end of the day that they bring Zack Snyder back for that. And I know there's some doubt about that. They think maybe Justice League is when he'll be done. We need to talk about Justice League a little bit as well in a minute, because apparently that movie's a little bit more expensive than they thought.
Nobody's surprised.
No shocker. But I think in the end they might bring Zack Snyder back for Man of Steel too. So
I mean,
those people stayed in the good graces of Warner Brothers, like Cavill always did.
Mm-hmm.
He never fell out of favor with them. And Snyder, for everything that went on, there's no bad blood.
Right.
And it seems like Cavill and Snyder get along famously. It seems like Snyder gets along with all of them.
Yeah.
So I don't see why they wouldn't. I think they probably will bring him back for that.
It's funny, and it's very weird how public opinion can change so quickly. Well, I guess it's really over a matter of years, but with this one inciting incident. But public opinion can change so quickly, and really, it has me questioning why the DC universe was thought to be so bad in the first place. Like, because one of the things I was going to say is, why would you get rid of Cavill? He's the best cast superhero in the group. But then I started thinking through my head. I was like, well, Jason Momoa, that's inspired casting. That's you wouldn't think of. He redefined Aquaman. Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot is obviously perfect for that. Ben Affleck, it depends on who you ask. And Ezra Miller is maybe the only one that I would say, but even there, he's perfect.
Wasn't the problem with Batman either. His motivation to play the characters is what ended that.
Right. Well, I mean, I still think the opening scene of Justice League is the most comics faithfully accurate scene in any superhero movie. When you have Batman fighting the parademon in the very beginning, it looked exactly like a comic book. But you have this cast that's damn amazing. You have a chance to turn it all around, and just it's not something we usually see. I mean, how many times do you hear about the movies that could have been? and no matter how awesome they sound, they never actually happen. And now we're at a place where
they're going to circle back to Justice League at some point. Like,
they're
going.
Yeah, it's gonna be a take two.
Yeah, they're gonna have to try it again. I mean, they're gonna do it with a completely different filmmaker. Also, these characters will be in a different place. Gal Gadot is super popular as Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Momoa is super popular as Aquaman. A lot of it's going to depend on what they do with Batman. I don't know.
Yeah, he's the only one that's really been, and that's a big question mark because, I mean, it's not like they just recast him and are following the same storyline with Robert Pattinson's version. It's a reboot. It's a different timeline. I mean, could they even go so far as to say that was the younger Ben Affleck? I don't think so. That sounds ridiculous, but you don't know.
I don't put anything past anybody at this point.
Yeah.
If the movie succeeds, like let's say it's $1 billion hit, they're going to continue it in some way, shape, or form. And I know they've already talked about sequels and stuff like that, but they're going to continue it in some way, shape, or form. And they're going to want to expand on Robert Pattinson as Batman. So I don't put anything past anybody. I don't put anything past Ben Affleck coming back to do a bookending sequence where he's the older Batman doing a flashback to the younger Batman, which is Robert Pattinson. I don't put anything past anybody.
And then it all is bookended by a post-credit scene with Clint Eastwood reading his stories as the very old Batman. Done. Best ever. But I mean, it proposes an interesting question because you have essentially 3 separate DC universes right now. I know Suicide Squad is part of this Justice League piece, and there are connecting elements, but to me, it feels like a different universe. And then you have this main universe. Maybe it's because we've only had
Suicide Squad feels different.
To me, it does. I mean, it feels a little different, and not as much different as the Batman looks like it's going to feel, but different enough. But one thing I've always wondered, and I'm just kind of going around on tangents here, when I try to figure out why is it that Marvel appeals to people so much more than DC, and the one thing that always popped in my head is Marvel uses real-life locations, DC uses made-up locations. Do you think that has anything to do with people taking to Marvel because Avengers Tower is in New York City as opposed to the Daily Planet being in Metropolis? Do you think that has anything to do with it?
Yeah, I think there's something to that. People feel a connection to certain places. The Marvel movies, almost all of Marvel takes place in like the same general area.
Yeah, the tri-state area, northeastern U.S.
Always is just in the same general space.
Mm-hmm.
So they feel they have a certain feel to them. So yeah, I think there's something to that. I don't know. I feel like not Justice League, but Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, those movies fit in as much with the DCEU as I would say something like Captain America, the Winter Soldier fit in. The first time we watched that for Marvel, it's like this didn't even feel like a Marvel movie.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Felt the same way when I watched Guardians of the Galaxy the first time. I was like, this doesn't even feel like a Marvel movie. It feels like something different.
And then the genius is how they gel those all together.
Yeah. It's up to them to make those things seem like they gel. I think the problem with stuff like Suicide Squad and I guess even Birds of Prey to a certain extent is that those movies, they haven't done enough to make that universe feel cohesive. And that's been by design for the most part, because of the failures of Justice League. Everything has been intentionally disconnected.
Right.
So that's why those things feel even more like loose than something like Guardians of the Galaxy or The Winter Soldier or something like that. So
how much is this thing going to cost? You mentioned that they found out that the budget's going to be a little bit more than the $20 million they predicted.
They didn't say, but the guy who's running HBO Max,
he said, "Holy shit!"
Well, yeah, basically he was like, because the number that's been out there was $20 to $30 million was the number that was out there, and he basically was like, "Yeah, I wish it was $20 to $30 million." It's going to be a lot more. Which, surprise, Zack Snyder is going over budget.
Yeah.
Actually, we don't know that. We don't know if he's actually going over budget. It just may be that the number was reported low. We don't know that the number was ever accurate.
But this is all for visual finishing effects.
Cost. And I don't know. I still have no idea why they're willing to invest so many millions on a redo of a failed movie that at best is going to have a very limited audience. Like, I don't care if it is a 4-star movie. At best, it has a limited audience.
So
it makes no sense to me. It's not going to bring in subscribers to HBO Max, as far as I can tell.
You don't think so?
Again, I don't know that. I don't understand the subscriber model. Like, I don't understand the subscriber model for Netflix either. When they spend $100 million on a movie to acquire a movie, I'm like, well, who is that for? Like, do you think you're going to get $100 million worth of subscribers, or is that to make sure $100 million worth of subscribers don't leave? Like,
that math is beyond me.
The math doesn't work for me, and no one's been able to explain it. And I don't know if anybody ever will be able to explain it, because it's not as if they sell a lot of Netflix Blu-rays.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I don't know if they do for the most part for their original stuff. And there's very little theatrical. So
it's only subscriber based.
But their subscriber base, look, that amount that they have is an extraordinary amount of money that they bring in.
Right.
But I don't see the recoup in investment.
Yeah, there's nothing driving you to say we need to create this.
I'll never understand. I understand where they're getting money from,
right?
Overall, but I don't understand how The Irishman costing $150 million, whatever it was, where they made that back.
Yeah, and it's I don't get that either. And then you could say that they're just loose with the purse strings, but then you find out things like how some of your favorite Netflix shows are canceled after 3 seasons because that's when they tell them that's what season that they learned they'll stop getting new subscribers off of. So once a show hits season 3, they'll cut it because it's not going to do anything for them anymore. I mean, that math doesn't make any sense to me, but I mean, as far as the Justice League, so there was this thing on Instagram, marveldc.fandom Instagram page put up that is a nice little synopsis of the differences between the two. It says the Snyder Cut, it's got a side-by-side of the both, but if what all is in here is true, then it is a vastly different movie, and I can see why it would be worth making. It's 4 hours long right now. Obviously, that'll have to be cut or hopefully put into a miniseries. Cyborg is at the heart of the movie. It says great CGI. I don't know how they can say that because it's not finished.
Stuff that he's been talking about for 2.5 years.
Yeah, Darkseid invades Earth. Aquaman goes to Atlantis. Martian Manhunter and the Atom appear. Flash goes back in time. There's 3 Green Lanterns in it. Wonder Woman kills Steppenwolf. Deathstroke breaks Lex out of prison. All this stuff. But the thing that blows my mind with this budget is they've explicitly stated, and this would have been the hardest part of redoing a movie now, is they're not reshooting any scenes. So if you have no actual production, if it's all visual effects, what are you doing with that? And please tell me you're not trying to CG acting scenes, because we saw what happened with the mustache, for God's sake. That would be a colossal mistake.
I don't know.
The one other major thing I noticed,
that 30 million plus is going somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I really don't.
Without shooting a frame, I don't see how that is. I mean, but
not reshooting anything. It's weird because he apparently asked for reshoots, and Warner Brothers is like, nope.
Yeah.
No reshoots.
I mean, the only other thing I can say is that the major difference between Marvel and DC up to this point, the game making difference, in my mind, in a lot of ways, is the CG company they use. Yeah, DC always looks cartoony. Marvel is seamless for the most part. I mean, you cannot. I would challenge anybody to watch Iron Man in a movie, and you tell me when it's CG and when it's not. It's almost impossible. And then you have Batman vs Superman, where Doomsday comes out looking like the Play-Doh monster my daughter created in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
So maybe they're redoing all of that with a better company. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. Interesting thing though about, because we're talking about all these extended cuts and how their fans are now asking for the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. If they did redo that, if they did do that one, it's a done movie.
It's much closer, yeah.
You would just have to re-edit it, but basically the movie's done. I have a feeling that they're going to end up doing that now.
Why wouldn't they? I mean, So for folks out there that don't understand the difference, obviously we talked last week about this, so I don't want to recap it too much. But Zack Snyder had to leave in the middle, towards the end of production, because of a tragedy that befell his family. David Ayer completed Suicide Squad, completed his film, and then it was hacked to death at the studio level, to the point where when he saw the premiere, he did not see the movie he was expecting. He thought he was going to see something different. So what he submitted, the important part of that is that his movie was complete, but the one he wanted is there and is available, and you could watch it now. So all they'd have to do is maybe find the old archive, collection that he put together, and air it. I mean, so
it's crazy.
There's another universe we can talk about if you want.
Did you see any other movies this week? Because the only other movie I saw this week was The High Note.
I did. I saw Tainted, but I can't talk about it until next week.
Tainted. What is that?
It's the one that you sent me an email about earlier. It's an action movie. I don't know. They were pretty strict on the
embargo.
There you go. There's the word I'm looking for. Embargo. But
who's in it, right? Who's in it?
What?
Who's in it?
Who's in it? Let's see. A bunch of no names, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Let's see.
I might be talking to Bella Thorne next week.
For what?
She has a movie coming out called Infamous. It's basically a Bonnie and Clyde sort of thing. Modern day Bonnie and Clyde.
Why do I feel like I've heard about that? Infamous?
Yeah. I mean, I put the trailer up not too long ago.
Do you like Bella Thorne? I mean, do you like her work? Let me put it that way.
I was unsure how to answer that.
That's why I clarified.
I do like Bella Thorne to a certain extent. Yeah, I do like Bella Thorne. She was in Assassination Nation also, just like Odessa Young was.
Yeah.
I asked her about that too, I guess. Although they made me agree to not ask her a bunch of questions about like Shake It Up or like her Disney Channel time.
Yeah.
Or
the pictures of her boobs falling out when she's running around town.
That movie she directed for YouPorn or Pornhub, whichever one it is.
Yeah, and be proud of it, girl. Get yours.
Not allowed to ask about that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. I don't, like I said, when I do interviews, I almost never break from the topic.
Mm-hmm.
I find it unprofessional, so I wasn't going to do it anyway.
And we've never really covered the gossipy side of anything anyway. I've always found that kind of...
Yeah, we don't... it's not really our thing. It's not really my thing. I never know anything about anybody until something stupid happens.
Right. I'd be lying if I said I didn't look. But I won't traffic in it, that's for sure.
Yeah, no. So yeah, maybe talking to her next week.
So let's test your bona fides. As I just mentioned, I had to pull it up because Alan Van Sprang, John Ralston, Sarah Weisglass, Aaron Poole, and Linda Rossler. Any of those names ring a bell?
The Van Sprang guy I do know. He's an action star.
Yeah, he's the lead of I'd never heard of him before in my life. He's the lead of Tainted.
I've heard of him before. I don't think I've heard of anybody else.
Yeah, I mean that's not a comment on the film. We'll have more of that later. But it's just I didn't recognize a person in it.
Yeah. So I did see The High Note, which is probably the biggest movie coming out this week. There's actually a lot to talk about it. It stars Dakota Johnson and Tracee Ellis Ross. Like it's basically a musical music rom-com set in the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
Tracee Ellis Ross plays an R&B star, a lot like her mom actually.
Diana.
Which I tweeted that I completely forgot that she was Diana Ross's daughter for a long time. It just it's not something to think about, and I don't really.
She doesn't look like her unless you like. I've got the IMDb page pulled up here. In a couple of the clips from this movie, when she's got her hair puffed up, she looks like her. She does, but
it's almost like she's playing a version of her mom.
Right.
And Dakota Johnson is her assistant who has dreams of being a producer. That sort of thing. And it's very much the director whose name I don't remember. She directed Late Night just last year.
Mindy Kaling.
No, not Mindy Kaling. Mindy Kaling co-wrote Late Night and starred in it, but she didn't direct it.
Oh no, I meant the Mindy Kaling thing. Nisha
yeah.
Ganatra. I'm not going to say that right.
But she directed Late Night, and the two movies are very, very similar because they're both, like Emma Thompson was like the female in a man's world of late night talk.
Right.
Tracy Ellis Ross is one of the leading female R&B artists, surrounded by men who are basically trying to dictate her career.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like this upstart who's trying to like not only break into the business but chart her own creative path. They're like the same movie in different industries, basically. But the High Note actually has a lot more music. It's very soulful, and sometimes Tracy Ellis Ross, like I said, I had forgotten that she was Diana Ross's daughter, but when she performs in this movie, you're reminded. You're like, oh yeah.
So she can sing then.
She's not only somebody who's funny and like blackish, but she's like super talented, and she has a sense of style. She's always had a sense of like diva style. She's always had that.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie reminds you of all of that. She's really good in it. And Dakota Johnson, she's good too. She has this thing that some people are going to hate and some people are going to find endearing. I'm starting to find it endearing, where she plays somebody who seems like she's kind of a pushover. And then she like kind of becomes stronger than that. Like it was basically what she did like through all of the 50 Shades movies.
Mm-hmm.
She's deer in headlights,
right?
Stronger, and it's like basically the role that she does in almost every movie, and she's really good at playing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she's good at playing it here. The movie's biggest problem is that it has all these subplots that I think suck, like that kind of divert from the movie's strongest aspect, which is Johnson and Ellis together as two women trying to make it in a field that only cares about men's dreams, not necessarily women's dreams. And when it focuses on that, it's really, really good. Kelvin Harrison Jr., who's still having one of like the best stretches of any actor in the world right now, he's really good in it as well. He's also super talented as a singer. He plays another rising star performer in the movie. A lot of good stuff in this. I gave it a 3 out of 5 on the site. It's worth watching. Definitely worth checking out. I think a lot of people will check it out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not as good as The Vast of Night. The Vast of Night is my movie of the last couple of months. But The High Note is solid. It's worth watching.
It always blows my mind when you watch one of these movies and just the sheer amount of people in the business that can sing. Like even the ones that you wouldn't think. Like I remember I know he got his start in his completely different type of singing, but not connected to what you're talking about at all, really. But like Josh Gad's one of the ones that always blows me away. Like I know he got his start.
You mean the guy from The Rocker?
Yeah, the guy from The Rocker.
The guy from The Rocker has talent.
Yeah, he is. He was also in Love and Other Drugs, but I don't think he's done anything since then. But I mean, he apparently got a start in the Putnam County auction? I don't know, some Tony winning musical from a long time ago, or from like 10 years ago. But I'm always blown away by that. You'll have somebody that just plays funny roles or does something different, and then you see them in a movie and you actually have to look it up. Like, are they actually singing, or is this obviously Diana Ross's daughter? Doesn't surprise me, but
it's always interesting when you see, because most of these people start off in like movies like The Rocker, and you're like, oh well, that guy, that's the last we'll see of him, and then you're like, oh wait, that guy is suddenly blown up, and now he's huge, and that guy has more talent than we ever in his little finger than we do in like our entire bodies. Like,
right, it's crazy. So we're running up on about probably 6 or 7 minutes left in the stream here. So a couple other things that we have.
Where the hell did the hour go?
Most of it is devoted to us bullshitting about games and random things in the beginning of the show.
So Ryan Gosling is Wolfman.
Yes, that's something I definitely wanted to cover, and I just want to point out to our stream viewers, up in the upper left over there, that is not Ryan Gosling in your other left. In in his costume. That's Wolf Cop. I just wanted to give a nice shout out to one of my favorite silly horror movies of all time.
You could have picked one of those movies where Ryan Gosling has the beard.
I did the best I could. He never actually has a full beard that I could find an image of easily. It's always like that scruffy thing.
It was in a movie where he's younger though, because I remember when I was doing the post for it.
Oh, The Notebook. He had one.
Right. I was trying to find one where he's more recent and had a really decent sized beard.
You picked a Blade Runner picture.
The only ones I could find were from The Notebook, and I was like, hey, he looks too young.
Yeah. So,
the Wolfman.
So is this part of the Blumhouse Universal Monster Universe?
This is Universal. I don't know if Blumhouse is involved with this yet.
Didn't they do Invisible Man? Weren't they involved? Why am I thinking they were involved in Invisible?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, this is Universal making the best use of their Universal monsters. Ryan Gosling will be playing the Wolfman, and I'm down for it. I'm already. It's going to be a modern take, of course, because that's what they're doing. And honestly, it seems like they're just going through with what they were going to do originally anyway, except they're not trying to make it into a universe.
Right. They let the heat die down, and now they're redoing it.
Setting all these movies in a modern context, but not making them into a cinematic universe, which is probably a smart thing.
Yeah, but I need to get some input from you on this. Like, Invisible Man, I thought was genius just because not only did they update the method, but also the motivation and the theme behind the story was, one that was very topical and hadn't been covered again, even though everybody knows most people, when they went invisible, the first thing they do is peek in somebody's shower. Not most people, hopefully, but some of you out there. And it really brought home the terror. What?
You are giving yourself away.
I'm see-through. I'm transparent. I would. Oh God. I made me lose my train of thought. I'm thinking of all the showers I would crawl in. No, I'm kidding. I would not do that, people. Seriously. But they took the Invisible Man. They made it very topical. They brought a terrifying new angle to it that was thoroughly believable. How do you do that with Wolfman?
Maybe make it an allegory for racism or something like that. I don't know. He's going to be somebody ostracized from society. That's for sure. So I don't know. Maybe that's something they can do. They can pursue. They're doing an Upgrade sequel, by the way. We talked about The Invisible Man, and that was directed by Lee Whannell. Well, Upgrade was directed by Lee Whannell as well. And Upgrade is a movie I've been begging for a sequel to. It's a fucking great movie.
I just want to beg people to see it.
TV series, a Blumhouse TV series, which I'm not as happy about because I'm afraid that they won't bring Logan Marshall Green back for it. Mm-hmm. Cast somebody like Jeremy Irvine, and I'll just be mad.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I've always liked Logan Marshall Green, but he's not.
Tom Hardy?
Yeah, Tom Hardy. Well, he was Tom Hardy's double back in the early 2000s. And if you want to see an unrecognizable Tom Hardy, watch Band of Brothers. This little skinny crackhead-looking dude comes walking up that looks vaguely like Tom Hardy, and that was him. I don't know where all this muscle came from, but no, Logan Marshall Upgrade is a movie, probably one of my biggest surprises of that year. I went and sat down to watch this techno noir thriller that was probably going to fall flat on his face and ended up being thoroughly ensconced in it. And
crazy body horror stuff. It was better. It was Venom, but better. The two movies are almost identical in terms of their plot in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But Upgrade's a better film.
Yeah. It's definitely more inventive. We've all heard my thoughts on Venom, how much I loved it, but the action in it was so visceral and gory and fun, and it was really good. I'm starting to think Blumhouse is making moves towards a channel, having their own streaming service or something like that. Because, here's the problem: is I haven't seen any of their episodic stuff be worth watching. I mean,
well, the Purge is okay.
Okay, I haven't watched that, so maybe that's. I've heard that before that the Purge show is good.
Purge is all right.
So yeah.
All right, we got to split, man. It's 3 o'clock. It's been an hour. We got to roll.
Yeah, we're out of here. You guys can check us out every single day at punchdrunkcritics.com. On Twitter, that's at punchdrunktra. No, I don't know our stuff. I need to write it down.
Critic for me, you are at punchdrunk.
Punchy
on.
critic.
Follow the site at PDC Movies. You can follow me on Twitch as well. I played some decent WWE 2K the other day. That was fun. I'm going to roll with some SmackDown on there pretty soon.
Yeah.
I got my SmackDown show to do next. I got to do that soon.
Oh, nice.
So,